Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and I just finished watching episode 9 of She-Hulk, and wow, okay, I'm gonna say it right now. This was absolutely the best way She-Hulk could have possibly ended. Because look, I'll be honest with you, the show, I've been enjoying it as it is, but like, there wasn't much of an overarching plot, and I was like, what do you even do for the finale of the show? They did not disappoint at all. I think like this was the best thing you possibly could have done. And it was kind of brilliant in a way, like wow, this is going to be talked about a lot, wow. Okay, so we start off, last episode, Jen got arrested because she ended up losing her cool in public in front of everyone. And she was like attacking this guy, she was going after him, and it was like this whole thing, right? So what ends up happening is that she has to take a plea deal where she of course has to wear one of the same restraints that Blonsky had to wear in order for her to just walk amongst the public and not be in jail. And then she loses her job, and she's just in this really low place where like the news is trying to ask her all these questions, and she has to move in back home with her parents, and things are just not going well. But she starts trying to do research on intelligentsia, and her friend ends up taking a video that Jennifer had, it's like just another embarrassing video that she had taken in college, and posting it on intelligentsia, trying to get more information out of people, like posing as someone on the website. And she ends up getting invited to this event at night, right? So she ends up going there. Of course she tells Jennifer and everything. She ends up going there with the dude that works, I forget his name, but the guy who works with them, right? Because he has to pose. It has to be a guy. So he walks in there, and basically, it's Todd, who of course we knew he was part of intelligentsia, and it's just a whole bunch of other people, and they're basically saying like a lot of the same stuff, and the show has done this throughout the whole run. It's a lot of the same stuff you see on Twitter, like, why does it even have to be a She-Hulk or a She-Thor? Why does it have to be, and then you actually hear someone say, I would say the same thing if it was a guy, which I love that the show is very mumuch paying attention to Twitter and YouTube, and just like they're just taking direct quotes that people say, like the stupid shit people say, and they're just putting it in the show, and they've done a really good job with that. Anyways, so Todd's there speaking, and they have the friend kind of doing undercover, just trying to get research, and meanwhile, Jennifer basically decides that she's going to go hang out with Emil Blonsky because she just needs a place to retreat. And so as she goes there, she goes back to his retreat because he's not picking up his phone. He said, come anytime. And right away, something's going on. And, I'm glad it didn't go the direction I thought it might have been going, because I was like, oh no, if Emil's like a true villain again, and there's some like more sinister plan behind this, that kind of undoes all the progress he had, right? And it, it's kind of confusing. So basically, here's what ends up happening. So it turns out that the event of intelligentsia is indeed being held at Emil's place, right? Like his whole giant facility that he has, right? It is being held there, and he is being a guest speaker for this event, right? And it's interesting, because when he goes to speak, he is still kind of in his, self-help kind of mode, right? And he doesn't seem to be like directing his anger towards She-Hulk, even though everyone there is they're there for that reason, I guess, right? And even when Jennifer eventually walks in, he's like, "Oh, Jen, I'm sorry. And so he starts apologizing. It's interesting, because it's like, okay, so he's not entirely like in with this group, he's not leading them, he's not doing all this and that, but he was willing to give them this space to hold their meeting. It's interesting, because it's like he's not evil, but he definitely was, I don't know, he was supporting them, I guess, or maybe he was trying to help them. It's kind of confusing exactly what Emil Blonsky was doing with this group, But in any case, he is turning into the Abomination. He was going to speak at this event. And then we get... Here's where everything goes insane. Okay, so... It turns out that Todd, of course, is the one who created Intelligentsia, right? Like, he has the money to fund this whole thing. And he's the one who paid Josh to get her blood, right? And, hack her phone and all that stuff, right? So he pulls out one of the vials, and he's like, oh, I got your blood, that way I can give myself superpowers, which, that's, predictably, this is essentially what we all thought was going to happen. We knew, like, someone's going to try to get Hulk powers. That's how, that's the only thing that makes sense in this situation, to get her, why else would you be taking her blood, right? And, and again, Emil Blonsky's like helping Jen out, because, like, Todd tries to, like, go after Jen, and Emil Blonsky actually, like, whoa, Jen, watch out, and he helps her out. So again, it's like, he's not evil. Why is he here, though? Like, that's the one thing I don't understand about this episode. Why was Emil Blonsky supporting this event and being willing to talk at this event, but at the same time, he's, like, not actually going after Jennifer. He actually, like, helped her get out of the way of Todd, so, like, what exactly is happening here? I don't really get it, but okay. And then Titania bursts through the wall, and she's like, you, right? And then the Hulk comes down, Bruce comes down out of the ceiling. He's like, hey, get away from her, and starts fighting the Abomination. And this is where everything is just, I'm still, like, trying to process exactly what happens here, because they go further than you'd ever think they go. Okay, so this is where Jennifer starts addressing the camera, right? And she's like, really? All this is happening? Todd is becoming a Hulk because he stole my blood. Titania is here for some reason. Bruce randomly just fell out of space just in time to help me out here. All these plot lines converging into one finale, even though it doesn't really make sense. So she ends up pausing the episode, going back to the main menu of Disney Plus, going into Avengers Assembled or Marvel Assembled, which is like the behind the scenes stuff here on Disney Plus. And she goes into that show, starts walking around the actual Marvel Studios itself, right? So she's beyond breaking the fourth wall. She's like walked to the other side of the fourth wall now. Now she's like walking around in our world, right? I guess. And she finds the writer's room for She-Hulk, and they're all explaining to her, like, no, look, there's got to be an action scene. There's got to, like, yeah, they're going to use your blood to become Hulks, and you got to fight them. That's just how this works. That's the superhero stuff. And Jennifer's like, no, I hate this ending. I need to talk to Kevin, right? And they all laugh at her, like, no one talks to Kevin, which, of course, we're all thinking Kevin Feige, right? Because, what? Yeah, that's the only Kevin we know, right? So she ends up, like, going through security and then beating up a bunch of guards at Marvel, I guess at Marvel headquarters. And then she ends up finding this big room where we see a large artificial intelligence that's KEVIN as, like, the initials, I guess. And this is the Kevin that she's talking to, and the AI is even like, what, did you expect a man? So it's like, I guess in this version of Marvel Studios, instead of Kevin Feige, it's run by Kevin the AI, I guess. Anyways, they have this long conversation about how the ending should happen, and she asks, like, well, how about if Daredevil came back? And when are we getting the X-Men? And what's with all this? What's with all that? And starts asking all these questions, and the AI starts getting all pissed off. And she's basically like, look, take away the stupid, like, oh, Todd gets Hulk powers. Take that away. Don't have Bruce just, like, fall back from the sky in the last minute. Just make it daytime. Like, and basically what happens is she completely gets rid of this entire, like, big fight that they were about to have, and just like, let's focus on what the actual problem is. The problem is that my life, I had just found balance between She-Hulk and Jennifer, and then my life got, ruined by this Todd guy, right? Like, let's focus on that instead of all this other stuff. And so that's essentially what we see is, when they come back, they're kind of like fast forwarded a little bit. So Todd is being arrested, and Daredevil's there, but it's like, he's like, oh, I missed everything? Dang, too late. And then he stays for a week, and they just hang out at Jennifer's house, and they have like a family, they're having a family meal, and then Bruce does come back down, and he introduces his son Scar that he had, I guess, on Sakaar. So we don't get to see any of that. I thought that, because she even says like, oh, save it for the movie. So now I'm wondering, so what is the movie? Because they basically confirmed that there is going to be a movie, right? A Hulk movie. So that's interesting, so it's like, well, so Hulk just has a son now, and I guess they will just save it for the movie, and we'll figure out how all that happened, and because I kind of wanted to see Sakaar, I wanted to see Hulk discovering all this, but now he's back on Earth, and here's his son, he's back. Okay. And then it looks like she got her job back, and she's suing Todd for doing all this, for hacking her phone and doing all that stuff, right? And then Emil Blonsky's going back to prison, right? Serving like another 10-year sentence because he broke his, he did break his parole. He turned into the Abomination he wasn't supposed to. And then at the post-credit scene, we have Wong opening up a portal in Emil's cage, and he lets him out, and so Emil's just gonna stay at Kamar-Taj now. So they're still buds, and they're gonna, I don't know what they're gonna do together, but they're gonna just hang out, I guess. Wow. look, She-Hulk, instead of having this like standard superhero ending where she fights another Hulk, or she fights Abomination, or however else this could have gone, this was the best way to do this. Just like get more meta than you've ever been, walk into Marvel Studios itself and be like, what is this ending? How do, and just start asking questions about the X-Men, ask questions about like, am I going to get a movie? Am I going to show up on the theaters? And just, man, there's so many questions now, and the nature of how meta she can get, and how much she can break the fourth wall. Again, it kind of springs to mind of like, well, we know a lot of Daredevil news just happened. Like, can Deadpool, a lot of Deadpool news happened. Like, can Deadpool do this? Is this like a thing? Wow. I can honestly say I was shocked at the level they were willing to go. I was kind of expecting Kevin Feige himself to show up. The only reason I think I get why they didn't do that was like, Kevin Feige's not an actor, right? So like trying to read lines from a script, even if it's like a comedy scene, I can see how that's like, let's see if there's a different direction we can do this, because he's not a performer like that, so that probably would have been more to ask for a very busy person. So I get that. So doing this AI is interesting. Wow, just this I honestly, like, I prefer this to like any other hypothetical I can think of right now. Like, even if it was like, oh, Abomination is evil and they have to fight him, and then Bruce shows up and they both fight Abomination, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like this was a much better way to do this. Just straight up acknowledge that like the writers came up with, they kind of came up to this situation where there's like a bunch of plot lines that don't really converge with each other, but you introduced them all, and this is the finale, and it's like, what do? Do you just have like a big superhero finale? I guess so. So I'm glad they did this, and the thing is like, this almost, like, I'm well aware that like this had to have been the plan for a while at least, but like part of this almost feels like they heard some of the people complaining about the show, and they're like, okay, we're gonna address this in the most confrontational, in your face kind of way possible. That's what it almost feels like. I know that's probably not the case at all, you know, obviously, because they had to have filmed and edited and added a CGI AI Kevin robot, you know, but it, wow, just oh man, I cannot wait for like the new Rockstar's breakdown of like what this could, you know, what this could possibly mean. And the Kevin robot is Kevin the one above all now, this Kevin AI, or does Kevin Feige are they going to say that Kevin Feige is the one who built Kevin the robot? You know, there's so many questions now. But all I know is that was amazing. I love that they did this. And this was better than just some big fight. I very much prefer the idea of just being upfront with it and being like, what's with these plot lines? What do we... Todd is our main villain. This guy? No, come on. There's more we can do here. So, yeah, I really loved this. And also, yeah, I guess Matt Murdock and Jennifer Walters are, you know, obviously it's like a long distance thing, but I guess they're kind of dating, even though he's got to go back to Hell's Kitchen, which is literally on the other side of the country. But whatever, they're enjoying their time together as it is now, you know, like he's staying for a week. So like they have a thing going on, you know. I don't know how serious it would end up being because, you know, obviously they live so far apart, but you know, that is, you know, that's cool. I like that that's a thing still. They didn't just like have that be a one-off thing. They let him come back for the finale, or she demanded from Kevin that he come back. So that's, you know, she can alter reality, I guess. If she can go talk to Kevin himself, she can kind of just alter the reality of her life. This is okay. All right. Wow, there's so many questions, but also like that's it. That's the last episode. That's how it ends. Like, how do you can talk to Kevin himself? How does this... All right. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. I'm just kind of rambling now because my brain is still like trying to process exactly what I just saw, and how meta they were willing to go. Because like obviously the show's done this the whole time, right? But like it feels like there's a difference between just talking to the screen and then actually walking through Marvel Studios and talking to your own writers. And because now it's like, okay, so the writers of the show are talking to us, the audience, in this way, right? Like, this is the most direct way they can just talk to us, all right? So, okay, all right. Let me know what you guys think about the finale of She-Hulk. This was pretty awesome. I really enjoyed this. You know, the series itself has been... I feel like it's been more hits than misses for me personally because, you know, I just accepted up front that it's a comedy, it's not that serious, don't expect that much from it. But the finale delivered a lot more than I ever would have dreamed that this show could deliver. So, that was pretty great. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.